好，各位同学，咱们继续啊，第7天，咱们今天讲的内容呢，大家听一下，讲的是什么呢？学习重点又是什么呢？咱们首先听一下内容，走起来，各位同学。Okay, so today we're going to be talking about your hometown. Your hometown. Where's your hometown? Okay, let's listen to this.
Okay, Shane, you're from Ireland.
I am indeed, yeah.
同学们经常说，老师，我听力的时候各种口音听不清。今天让你听听美国口音和爱尔兰口音两个人对话是如何对比的，好吧？聊的什么呢？聊的是家乡，家乡 ，your hometown， 如何描述你的家乡？你的家乡有什么？在考雅思口语的时候，是不是经常会用到describe your hometown, tell me something about your hometown. Let's talk about your hometown. Where are you from? Okay, your hometown， 你的家乡。有什么什么样的？你住在哪里？它是一个怎么样景色？听一听。
Okay, Shane, you're from Ireland.
I am indeed, yeah.
Where are you from in Ireland?
I'm from a small town about 30 miles away from Dublin called Enfield, where there's plenty of cows and farmers and all this type of thing. So it's a good place. Lots of green fields, no mountains. A very small town, you know. I'd say there's about 2,000 people living there.
Oh, wow.
But I actually live outside the town, so I live, you know, the sort of bungalow house.
Bungalow house， 不懂了吧？
Sort of far away from the town, so.
什么叫 bungalow house？
That's where I'm living. Well, that's where I was living. I was living in Dublin, though, the capital. But I'm originally from about a sort of rural towns, you might say.
Okay. What's the best thing about your town?
It's very close-knit community. So if you go into a bar or a pub, everyone seems to know each other. You know, so whether you have young people who interact with people who are, 50, 60 years of age, and I think people playing football and all this type of thing, there's lots of interaction between people. So everyone seems to know each other.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Shane.
同学们，你们发现了吗？老师给大家选的文章并不难，也不长，但你就是听不懂。你不要说口音问题哈，咱一句来看啊。首先说家乡 ，So Todd, okay, Shane 这个词，各位同学听好了，在爱尔兰特别常见。男生的名字，各位同学有很多男同学说，老师给我起个名字，这个名字非常常见。哎，来听一下 Shane. You're from Ireland. 爱尔兰，各位同学啊，这个地方我也非常有感情啊。
Ireland.
这个地方，首先大家要了解一下，就是你们啊，这个我不知道大家熟不熟悉哈，给大家推荐一个网站啊，就叫做这个 Bing。你想查什么图片、图画的话，可以上这上面来查 Bing。OK， 上面有很多这个，比如说图片，等会儿老师会带大家去用哈。爱尔兰啊，它的历史是怎样的？首都是都柏林。Ireland 啊，包括关于这个爱尔兰的歌曲哈，等等很多，我们不做展开。但是各位同学听好了，他的家乡叫 Ireland。我们一起来听一下这个词的发音哈。你在发这个词的时候，很多同学说老师我发不清楚，原因是在于什么地方呢？你后面这个词发的太重了，发成 Ireland， 它不是 Ireland。当然你这么发呢，不是说你错啊，就有的时候一般老外会发成 Ireland， 而不是 Ireland。它不是你单纯发那个 land 这个音啊，听一下英音和美音分别是怎么发的。Ireland. So we're from Ireland. 听一下英音读成 Ireland。来，咱们听一下啊，稍微等一下，它这个音稍微有点问题啊。Apologize. The sound is not available.
Ireland.
这里面你听一下，同学们啊，爱尔兰分为什么？北爱尔兰和爱尔兰。爱尔兰分为北爱尔兰和爱尔兰。北爱尔兰是英国的一部分，爱尔兰是爱尔兰共和国，它是一个独立的国家。所以你在说的时候一定要分清楚，因为可能爱尔兰人是比较敏感的。他们首先不是英国人，他们不是英国人 ，They are not English. And the people from Northern Ireland, they are British, but they are not English. 听懂啊？他们是英国叫 British， 但他们不是 English， 这个一定要搞清楚啊。It is divided politically into Northern Ireland, 北爱尔兰和 the Republic of Ireland， 就爱尔兰共和国，叫 the Republic of Ireland， OK， 爱尔兰共和国常常被称为 ROI， ROI。OK， 比如说各位同学，我给大家举个简单的例子哈，你们知道的哈，就是有一些爱尔兰或者北爱尔兰，他们用的时候呢，其实用的时候这个区别很大哈，就是爱尔兰它的这个首都呢叫都柏林啊 Dublin。OK， 老师给大家找这个一些资料啊，这里面呢，他会经常跟大家去说这两个区别，一定记住哈，发音 Ireland。OK， 我确实是从爱尔兰的 ，I am indeed 这句话，各位同学很简单，那可不咋的，我就是爱尔兰的，你咋知道呢？啊 ，indeed yeah，Where are you from in Ireland？ 那你具体是从哪儿来的呢？ Where are you from in Ireland？ 爱尔兰也分很多地方是吧 ？Ireland。OK， 所以这个地方你听好了 ，Northern Ireland is a part of the UK and many people there belong to 这个词是什么呢？清教徒或者新教徒，来听一下 Protestant 两种发音 Protestant 这是英式发音，美式发音我们用的比较多一些，可能同学
Protestant
叫 Protestant，这清教徒 Protestant 就是北爱尔兰呢，它是属于英国的一部分，很多人那里呢属于清教徒，而 Republic of Ireland has been independent since 1921， 1921年爱尔兰就独立了，它成了这个独立的国家，而大多数人呢属于叫罗马天主教，叫 Roman Catholic religion。Roman Catholic religion。Ireland, especially the Republic of Ireland, is known to be a beautiful green countryside, and it's sometimes called Emerald Isle， 就叫什么翡翠绿岛，这个词叫 Emerald。Isle， 后面这个词各位同学注意啊，翡翠之岛，这个被称为的什么？你们要明白这个词哈，各位同学，这个词，来。老师告诉你这个词是怎么用的，怎么发的啊？你会听好了。以后你聊到爱尔兰，你说爱尔兰什么被称为翡翠之岛，这个词 Isle， 翡翠岛。这里面这句话给我记下来。Ireland, especially the Republic of Ireland, is known for its beautiful green countryside and is sometimes called the Emerald Isle. Many great writers in English come from England， 比如说奥斯卡·王尔德啊 ，James Joyce 啊。等等的，肖伯纳 ，OK， 等等啊，什么还有这个 Samuel Beckley。所以各位同学，如果你特别文艺的话，你说老师我是文艺青年、文艺男生、文艺女生，你要知道爱尔兰这个关于爱尔兰的这个，各位同学，老师给大家敲到这里。爱尔兰说到爱尔兰，你们要注意这么几个地方 ：Ireland, especially the Republic of Ireland， 尤其是爱尔兰共和国，就是爱尔兰 ，is be known for something， 以什么什么著称。Be known for its beautiful green countryside and is sometimes called the Emerald 这个词再读一遍，英音 Emerald 美音叫 Emerald 翡翠之岛，翡翠小岛。其实这个名字非常好听，爱你的兰花 Ireland very beautiful name isn't it 啊？这个大家地方注意一下，就是如果说到什么地方哈，同样这里面可以用于给一个同学介绍自己的家乡。听好了，为什么可以这么说呢？介绍自己的家乡，你的家乡有什么特色？你怎么去介绍？比如说my hometown 长沙，你的家长沙 ，especially 什么，比如说这个叫什么之城 ，is known for 比如说 entertainment industry， 以其比较著名的这种，比如说娱乐业啊，比如说你看那里有什么节目，娱乐节目，是吧？Known for its 什么 industry and sometimes called the 各位同学记住了，被称为 sometimes 谁被称为 is called the Emerald Isle 啊，什么翡翠之岛 ？Yes, I am。那可不咋的，我家就爱尔兰的。Where from in Ireland？ 那具体来自于哪呢？I'm from a small town about 什么 away from Dublin。Dublin 这个地方是它的首都，叫都柏林。各位同学，都柏林，我提醒大家一次，跟柏林一点关系都没有。柏林 柏林是德国的，都柏林是爱尔兰的首都啊，都柏林。爱尔兰首都啊，各位同学，跟柏林一点关系都没有，就 Dublin。比如说 I'm from a small town， 比如说你家不是长沙，是长沙旁边那个小地方的，你可以说 I'm from a small town about 30 miles。这个 miles 你可以换成你知道的，比如说 kilometer 或者叫 kilometers。Away from 什么地方 ？Away from 长沙 ，from Dublin called 他来的这个小地方哈，叫 Anfield。这个安菲尔德。你当然，各位同学，你有兴趣的话，可以去查一下，哎，这个地方有什么特色啊？是什么样的一个特征啊？你都可以去了解、去查。各位同学，哎，这就是真正各位同学，你对一个东西感兴趣，一定要有这种什么？只要你感兴趣，我觉得你就可以去查它。Anfield 这个地方是啊 ，Anfield 是什么样的一个情况 ？This is Anfield 是什么样一个状况啊？你可以了解一下这个 Anfield 啊 ，Anfield，OK，Anfield， where there is plenty of cows and farmers 啊 ，there be 句型 there is 连读叫 where there is 常用的一个表达叫 where there is plenty of cows and farmers and those types of things， 那里是什么呢？啊，绿草茵茵啊，牛羊成群啊，然后。这里主要是以当地的这个畜牧业，非常像爱尔兰呢，它有很多传统的畜牧业，我们管它叫做 traditional industry， 还有一些什么呢？包括爱尔兰被称为欧洲的硅谷，像Microsoft、Facebook， 他们的这个很多总部啊，欧洲的总部都在那边，都在都柏林这个城市，所以它既有传统的这种农业、畜牧业，也有什么呢？也有比如说制药业 （pharmaceutical）， 还有这种什么 IT 高新产业是非常牛的哈。人均 GDP 也是比较高的啊。OK，farmers and those type of things， 以及这种类似的 those type of things，type 就等于前面的 kind，so it's a good place，lots of green fields，绿草茵茵啊，叫 green fields 啊 ，no mountains，OK， 但没有山脉，就 no mountains， 没有山 ，no mountains，very small town，you know。啊，各位同学听一听他这段说的啊，描述你的家乡怎么说的
？Where there's plenty of cows and farmers and all this, 30 miles away from Dublin。
听好了，各位同学哈，我再跟你们说一个非常有意思的，这个词你听的它怎么读的？它不会读 30， 它会读 30， 就是爱尔兰中的这个 th 音啊，它都读成了 t 的音，正常叫 30， 它会读 30，about 30 miles away from Dublin。I'm from a small town about 30 miles away from Dublin。Called Anfield, where there is plenty of cows and farmers, those type of things. It's a good place, lots of green fields, no mountains, very small town, you know. 听一下爱尔兰口音。
Called 30 miles away from Dublin. 30 miles away from Dublin. 30 miles away.
30， 你听的是 30， 它读的就是 30， 它不会读成 30。
From Dublin, called Anfield.Where there's plenty of cows and farmers and all.
Cows and farmers.
All this type of thing. So it's a good place.
It's a good place.
Lots of green fields. No mountains.
Lots of green fields.
A very small town, you know. So I'd say
a very small town, you know. 注意这个词 small town 双元音发饱满 small l 的发音给我顶上来 small town, you know.
About 2,000 people living there. Oh wow! But I actually live outside the town, so I live, you know, the sort of bungalow house, sort of far away from the town. So.
然后这时候 I just say there be 句型出现了 there be 句型 I just say there is about maybe 2,000 people living there, but actually I live outside the town, so I live outside the town. 就是不是在哪里呢？不是在这个小town里面。Actually, I live outside the town. I live outside. 特使句爆破 outside the town. So live a sort of a bungalow. 什么叫 bungalow？ 各位同学，你听好了，什么叫 bungalow？Bungalow 这个词，它其实是房子的一种，是相对来说比较差的。你在爱尔兰如果租房子的话 ，bungalow 就是说白了小平房，没有2层楼的，这叫 bungalow。老师给大家找了，像这种哈，你说老师挺好的，其实并不是，因为我们租房子的时候，像这种 bungalow 是最便宜的。你买房的时候，各位同学你也知道，这种 bungalow 是最便宜的 bungalow。那再往上走的话，有 apartment 公寓或叫 flat F-L-A-T。 那再往上走的话叫 house 一般是2层的，这叫 bungalow。老师挺温馨，大多数这种房子租起来的时候相对来说比较便宜的，听懂了吗，同学们？这叫 bungalow。你在海外租房子就会看到这种样子的房子，哎，看起来挺好的，那只是看起来啊。然后还有一种各位同学叫 house， 这种 house 就比较豪华了，各位同学就2层的，有车库啊，有这个你看有车库，然后1层2层，这种 house 相对租的话呢，一般是里面好多房间，你需要就是说租给不同的人，你可以把它承租下来 house， 对吧？还有各位同学咱们说的这种 flat F-L-A-T， 不是 flat 公寓啊，这种公寓在欧洲的话，公寓楼不会特别高啊，在欧洲的话不会特别高。就一般来说，租公寓可能省事儿一些，简单一些。OK， 这个词叫 bungalow。各位同学跟我发一下这个音。bungalow， 小平房 bungalow 啊 ，sort of bungalow house and it's sort of far away from the town。而且呢，这个地方还 it's sort of far away from 什么地方？给我记下来。就是离哪里还有点距离 ，it's sort of far away from the place where I work, and so it's not quite handy 啊，不那么方便。That where I'm living, or that's where I was living. OK， 我曾经在那里住。I was living Dublin though， 我曾经住在都柏林。I was living Dublin though, the capital 啊，就是那个首都 the capital 啊。I was living in Dublin, though, the capital, but I originally from about a sort of a rural town, you might say. Rural town 这句话给我记下来，同学，就是说偏远的小镇。这个词 rural 是咱们考研中 rural and remote 经常连在一起去用，对不对？那首先我们看看这个 rural 它是如何去用的，尤其是你在考研中啊，包括考博中，可能会听到这样的词，英音发成 rural， 比如说 rural economics， economics 这个词听一下
economics
经济 rural area 农村地区 rural population 农村人口，咱们常说的农村人口 rural life 田园生活 OK 田园生活 rural environment rural environment rural environment rural sociology That's very, very interesting for people to be part of it. Rural populations are swarmed into the nearby towns.
Rural populations swarmed into nearby towns.
乡村啊 rural. It's kind of rural.
It's kind of like Amazon for rural farmers.
However,
it was rural Afghanistan, as it should be.
就偏远的地区哈啊 the Ecuador.Where I lived in Ecuador
was a very rural area.
Rural farmers.
Many of us are not strictly religious or rural farmers.
啊，常用的表达 rural 当形容词后面可以加很多，比如说 rural area, rural town, rural place, rural farmer 啊，偏远地区的什么什么什么 rural area, you might say 啊，你可能觉得我来那地方还是比较偏远的。其实各位同学，像在爱尔兰这样偏远的小地方呢，其实老师去过很多，有的时候去讲课，有的时候去调研，有的时候去度假。其实但是相对来说，当地人是比较民风比较淳朴的，同学们。但是确实这个口音咱听不太懂啊，那说实话啊，你们有兴趣的话可以上网搜一搜，一个爱尔兰老大爷丢了羊，你能不能听清他讲的是什么？是吧？完全听不懂。Okay, what is the best thing about your hometown? 这句话给我记下来，叫做你的家乡最好的是什么？What is the best thing? What is the best thing about your hometown? About your hometown. What is the best thing? What is the best thing? What is the best thing about your hometown? 它不会读成 What is the best thing about your hometown?
So I live,
Yeah.
a very small town, I'd say there's about 2,000 people living there.Oh wow! But I actually live outside the town, so I live, I've got sort of bungalow house. Sort of far away from the town.
It's sort of far away. Sort of 让你说起来的口语啊，听起来的时候可以同学听啊，就是非常地道。Sort of, it's sort of.
So that's where I'm living. Well, that's where I was living. I was living in Dublin though.
I was in Dublin though. Dublin.
and the capital, but I'm originally from about sort of rural towns, you might say.
Rural town, you might say 就是说，你甚至可以管它叫做 you might say 特失去爆破 you might say， 其实我来那地方还挺偏远的，说实话。
Okay.
Okay.
What's the best thing about your town?
What's the best thing about your town? 再听一下。
What's the best thing about your town? 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 What's the best thing about your town?
听到了吗？他没说 What's the best thing about your town？ 叫 What's the best thing about your town？ What's the best thing about your town？ What's the best thing about your town？ B 辅音过收尾。What's the best thing about your town？ 哎，你们村儿有啥好玩的？你们那旮瘩有啥好玩的呀 ？OK， 来，给他们走。
It's very close knit community, so
It's a very 什么什么 community 前面是什么词？再听一遍，你看能听懂吗？
it's very close knit community. So if you go into
Your town.
it's very close knit. It's very close knit community. It's very close knit community. So it's very close knit community. So it's very close knit community. So it's very close knit community.
你发现听不懂跟放的变数一点关系都没有。你放到现在，你可能听清了一个词叫 close。It was a very close 什么 community？ 各位同学，这个词叫 close knit community。这里面这个 k 是不发音的，不要读 kate， 叫 knit。knit close knit community 什么意思？同学们，你听好了 ，close knit 这个词本身的意思是亲密交织在一起的，就是说我们那个村儿啊，那旮瘩怎么说呢？可好了，大家都认识，彼此之间关系可融洽了，组织严密的，组织严密。其实这里不光是严密，同学们，它还有一种相互交织、关系紧密的意思，叫 close knit。听懂了吗，同学们？那这里面什么叫 close knit community？ 以后你再说我们那村啊，老师你不知道，关系都贼拉好，可好了呢，关系不孬儿，多好呗。这个词是什么意思呢？关系紧密的、密切的，叫 close knit community。老师有没有真正这种地道表达用法呢？当然有，郑哥来帮你一起来找一下。各位同学，来 close knit community。It's quite widely used in our daily life and in everyday English. And you can use close-knit community in your daily life. For example, it's a nice close-knit community. 这是哪里的？纽约时报里的。It's a nice and close community. It's a nice and close-knit community. 哪里的？纽约时报里的。各位同学，听好了，第一个给我记住了，怎么去用？郑哥要给你拓展了啊！打到这里面，所以你给我记好了。The first one, it's a, you know, our community. It's a very nice and close-knit community. It's a very nice and close-knit community. Okay, this is the first one. Okay, 这里面有这个表达，同学们 ，it's really senior 这个词，各位同学就是说什么东西非常美妙的、非常棒的、非常好的。OK。来这个词啊，来平静的 serene and nice, and the serenity and the niceness reach even higher level when they consider relative affordability to tax bill。各位同学，这个是可以这么用的。再往下走，下面独立报里面 ，This is a close-knit community。独立报 Independent 里面又学到了这个用法。This is a 什么什么什么 community ？This is a close-knit community。close-knit 以后记住。It's a close-knit. 英国卫报 It's very close-knit community. A now massive hole in our close. There is now a 什么什么什么，对不对？这些都是非常非常好用的，非常非常好用的。而这些呢，同学们你听好了，就是说我们在用的时候都是这么去用的，叫做紧密的、关系密切的。包括这个独立报里面讲到了，是一个密切的一个关系。老师教你怎么去用，你把这个东西复制下来。文章，然后你看，它怎么用的，每句话怎么说的，是不是非常好用啊？这就是你如何去持续性的学英语，各位同学，非常好用。来，把它给我记下来This is， 比如说你们的社区是个关系紧密的社区，同学们，这里面你可以讲到什么呢？就咱们中国的一个社区，我们常常说到，比如说咱们这个面临一个什么呢？由于城市化进程导致了很多空心村， 或者一些其他的村，你这时候你说我们这个村啊，曾经是一个 close-knit communication, a community, not communication, community. Okay, it's a close-knit community means everybody is closely associated with one another. Okay, so that's very, very interesting. OK， 好了，这个大家一定要注意啊，怎么去用啊？好了，往下走，同学们，下面。So if you go into a bar， 如果你进到一个酒吧里，叫 go into a bar。这个 bar 文化，各位同学，你听好了，在爱尔兰，如果你说到 pub 啊 or bar，OK，now we're speaking the same language。那咱俩现在有的聊了 ，OK， 就老外，尤其是像爱尔兰人，特别喜欢喝酒、喝啤酒、喝 whisky。A pub, everyone seems to know each other. Everyone seems to know each other. 这句话是在解释什么叫 close-knit community， 听懂了吗？人人都比较熟悉，是一个熟人社会，大家好像都认识。Hello, what's your name? My name is blah 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 blah. Okay, lovely, lovely, great, great. 就大家彼此都比较熟悉，然后这样一个熟人社会里面，这就是可能所谓的一个熟人社会，叫 close-knit， 关系密切。好。读发音，这个 K 是不发音的啊，往下走。You know, so whether you have young people who interact with people, 跟谁互动 people who are 50 or 60 years old of age, and there are people playing football, 踢足球 playing football, and all that stuff. 以后你们在表达口语的时候说，比如说 playing ping pong and all that stuff， 以及这种诸如此类等等，一个非常地道的话哈，这个词叫 stuff and stuff。There is a lot of interaction. There be 句型 between people, interaction between somebody. 来听一下这个词啊 ，close-knit. What is close-knit? Close-knit means a group of people closely linked or connected as by common identity or culture. Or bound. It's very close-knit community. Means everybody share the identity. Your identity is who you are. And sometimes, for example, I'm from Shandong, and sometimes I think I'm really proud of my own identity because I'm Chinese. So that's your identity. And maybe you're from a very close-knit community or family. For example, I came from a close-knit family. We never keep secrets from one another. 这句话的意思，各位同学，老师跟大家讲了，它首先这个词性是个形容词性，晓得不呢？它是个形容词性。那这个形容词性，各位同学，它本身这就意味着它要做定语，它要做形容词来修饰一个名词，往往是用在前面。那这个词叫 close-knit。OK， 它的意思，老师给大家敲到这里面，你们给我记住啊，它是个形容词词性。首先，晓得吧你？晓得吧？是一个形容词。OK，adjective 不叫 adjective， 叫 adjective 啊。它是个形容词词性 ，means 你都给我记起来，课下都给我记起来啊，这样啊 ，a group of close linked 彼此联系非常紧密 ，or connected or interconnected 相互彼此交互在一起，像这种感觉 ，interconnected very very closely，as by common identity， 你们有共同的文化血脉和身份认同，这就非常重要，这也想到一种文化的一种自豪感和一种自信心。各位同学，咱们常提的4个自信啊，自信如何自己的文化一定要自信。接着老师给大家写一个例子啊，比如说我来自于一个什么样的家庭，我们彼此之间关系很紧密，而且彼此之间不会生疏。这句话怎么说呢？同学们 ，I come from a close-knit family. We never keep secrets from one another.OK， 这个词记住了啊！老师给大家找了大量的例子啊，你可以去听。OK， 对 ，a close-knit summer colony， a
close-knit summer colony.
It seems really close-knit.
They seem really close-knit.
对吧？他们彼此看起来很亲密啊。It's small but close-knit. It's really small.
It's real small, close-knit.
Is it a close-knit?
Is it close-knit?
It's close-knit.
It's too close-knit.
We're a close-knit.
We're a close-knit group.
We're a close-knit group. We're a close-knit group. It's really close-knit. OK， 好了，这个词大家注意了，会用了，这个重点词汇一定要给我掌握好啊。我们喜欢干什么干什么。好了啊， interaction between people interaction 是什么？同学们叫谁和谁彼此之间的一种互动啊，一种好的互动、不好的互动都可以用这个词叫 interaction between 彼此间的互动。郑哥给你们讲一讲这个词叫 interaction。Add interaction between the screen, interaction between the species uncommon 啊，种族之间的这种互动是很不寻常的啊。Interaction
Interaction between the species is uncommon.
is uncommon. No interaction between the factor was observed. 就没有发现彼此因素之间有这种互动和关联。Okay, there was no interaction between factors.
There was no interaction between factors.
I like the human interaction between people. I like the human
interaction between people.
Look for interaction between staff and resident.
Look for interaction between staff and residents.
Interaction 什么什么间的互动 So everyone seemed to know each other. 熟人社会，每个人好像都认识每个人一样，这个怎么表达的 ？OK， 好了，各位同学，现在郑哥给你讲完了，咱们再听一遍，这边听的时候跟着读，跟着。
So if you go in,
Okay, Shane, you're from Ireland.
I am indeed, yeah.
I'm indeed, yeah.
Where are you from in
Where from
Ireland?
in Ireland?
I'm from a small town about 30 miles away from Dublin
30.
called Enfield, where there's plenty of cows and farmers and all this type of thing. So it's a good place. Lots of green fields, no mountains.
No mountains.
A very small town, you know. So I'd say there's about 2,000 people living there.
200 people living
Oh
there.
wow.
But I actually live outside the town, so I live, you know, the sort of bungalow house.
Bungalow house.
Um,
What is bungalow house? What is a flat? What is house? Can you just recall the picture I presented earlier? 各位同学，老师之前给大家找的图片想起来了吧？
It's sort of far away from the town, so that's where I'm living. Well, that's where I was living. I was living in Dublin, though.
Dublin.
It's the capital, but I'm originally
The
from
capital.
about a sort of rural towns, you might say.
Okay. What's the best thing about your town?
It's very close-knit community. So if you go into a bar or a pub, everyone seems to know each other. You know, so whether you have young people who interact with people who are, 50, 60 years of age, and I say people playing football and all this type of thing, there's lots of interaction between people. So everyone seems to know each other.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Shane.
Okay, so this is about this 这一次的哈，可能有 hometown 重点，你的家乡是哪里？我的家在东北松花江上。哎，你的家乡在哪里？描述一下这些表达，我记住了。好了，咱们看看重点词汇，同学。然后，首先第一个，各位同学叫 bungalow house， 老师给大家找了图。什么叫 bungalow house？What is a bungalow house？A bungalow house is a small one-story. One story 是一层的小房子。定语从句 ，which was inspired by houses in India。啊，跟着这是最早是从这个 India 过来的，是吧？啊，这个我还真不知道它是从 India 过来的。怎么样 ？Bungalow house， 我在爱尔兰是这个，当时你在 App 上面找房子、租房的时候会看到这个哈 bungalow。We can also simply bungalow and now notice it. Are you interested in buying bungalow house? They're building small bungalow on their property， 在自己的这个房产上，在自己的土地上、财产上建房子 on the property。Rural town. What is a rural town? I'm from a very small town. It's like a rural town. A rural town is a very small town in a rural setting. It's surrounded by open space like farms and fields. For example, rural town. You're from a rural town. 我是村里的孩子，我是小泥巴孩儿。就从小，各位同学，那中国的孩子，不管是城里的还是村里的哈，其实有很多都是可以相互借鉴和相互学习的。比如说村里的孩子，他有这种坚韧的品质，而城里的孩子可能从小接触的新鲜事物比较多，他视野比较开放，是吧？相互学习，彼此借鉴。有的时候，各位同学，人都是这样啊，小到个人，大到国家。There is a rural town, but 15 minutes from the cabin. Cabin 这个词是什么意思？各位同学，你告诉我。咱们之前讲过一个词，跟那个词特别像，是吧？哎，老师，那个词叫 cottage。那老师，这个 cabin 是啥呢？什么什么的一种什么呢？小木屋 cabin、cottage 都可以。听好了 cabin 啊，它有这个机舱的意思。She's from the city and could never live in the rural area， 或叫 rural town。人家是个城市女孩，她怎么可能在这个乡下跟你生活呢 ？And could never live in a rural area。什么叫 close-knit community? My town is a close-knit community. Close-knit, a group of people is close-knit if they are very emotional close. 情感上比较近，就像我刚才跟大家解释的那个，什么叫他们有共同的 culture, identity, and bond. Okay, each other's lives. A community is a group of people living close one another in an area. A community is a group of people living close one another in an area. For example, what's your community? 你们家的社区，你们家的这个小区啊，是这样的。当然，咱们汉语中的小区跟这个 community 还多少有一点点不同啊。The employee at my job are a very close-knit community. I had a very close-knit community of friends in my hometown. Interact with. What is interact with? You see young people who interact with the old people. 就是彼此，就老人和小孩其乐融融，大家一起共享天伦之乐，对吧？老人享天伦之乐，而小朋友呢跟着一起，就是这种感觉。你比如说 how often do you interact with your bosses? 你有很多老板，你多久跟他们互动一次啊？叫 interact with somebody. Interact. His favorite part of the traveling is interacting with the local people. 你看这句话，你给我背下来。人家说你为什么喜欢旅行？你为什么喜欢旅行？告诉我，同学们，为什么喜欢旅行 ？Because I can go to different places, meet different people, and I can interact with the local people, which is my favorite part. And when it comes to traveling, I really into local food because I'm a foodie. I'm a food junkie. I really into local food, especially when you stay with the local people. Especially my favorite part of traveling is interacting with local people. And you can always learn a great deal from them and how, the local culture and everything like that. And I think that's the best part of traveling. 对吧？回答说就很简单的一个 Everyone seems to know each other. 似乎每个人彼此之间都认识，对吧？你们都认识，都认识。There's a lot of interaction between people and they seems to know each other. Everyone seems to know each other in a small town community where people recognize each other and interact with each other every day. Everyone knows what happens in their lives and stuff like that. He comes from a place where everyone seems to know each other. 他来自于一个什么地方？来自于一个大家都比较熟悉的一个地方，就是他来自的那个社区啊，彼此之间大家人都认识谁，就是熟人社会嘛，一个熟人社会。其实各位同学，大家可以看这个乡土中国，就是讲中国的咱们的这个乡村社区、农村问题是怎么来的，好吧？He comes from a place where everyone seems to know each other. It was strange to go from a big city to a place where everybody seems to know each other. 这里面也涉及到一个比较深层次的一个社会话题，比如说你是想在大城市里当条小鱼，还是回到家乡当条大鱼？家乡里面人人都熟悉，都认识你，从小你就怎样。大城市里面可能大家不认识你，不了解你的过去，你可能更好的去发展自己，就是说忘掉过去。人有的时候要学会和过去的自己说再见，但同时要努力学习，因为你要和未来更好的 the better version of yourself 说Hello， 好吗？各位同学，这是咱们今天内容 Day 7学习重点，你的家乡 Your hometown， 说出你的家乡，听到你的声音。See you next time. Bye everyone.